branches that I heard crashing there sounded like something that fell down. But
I've been a guide for 20 years. I'm 20 plus, more like 24 years, and I've now had my own outfit here for 9 years, going on 10. You know, as a young adolescent at 15 years old, I started as a dishwasher at Scott Lake Lodge, a fly-in fishing camp in the north. I saw a bunch of characters that were guides who are still guides now to this day. And kind of looked at them and saw, hey, there's, you can actually make a living doing this. And from there, I started guiding fishing, and then when the opportunity to buy a big game outfit came available, I jumped on it. It was always an interest and a passion. My parents weren't hunters; they were interested in the outdoors, and introduced me to the outdoors as a kid. And it was something that I just loved to do and loved to be outside. So when I was 13 years old, I was able to save up enough money to purchase my own archery equipment and started bow hunting whitetails. And from there, then as I was older and purchased some firearms, started gun hunting, and it's terrible. It was a passion then, and now it's turned into more than just a lifestyle. My favorite to personally hunt is elk. Locally here, we have some elk. I compare it. I've never turkey hunted, but I compare it to turkey hunting for people that do turkey hunt, just because you communicate back and forth. You hunt the bulls in the rut, and you can get them chirping or get them bugling, and the communication back and forth is a rush, and have them come storming in is something that I've been fortunate enough to experience enough times. Well, it was formerly Kevin Tarand Outfitting, and the late Kevin Tarand, he was a knowledgeable guy. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to meet him, but he had our lodge was his lodge on a different site. So we moved that building 10, probably 12 miles over to the site it's on now. Set that up. We used to do our skinning. The first early years, we'd skin and gut outside in the wind and blizzards and cold weather. We got fast at it, but now with it, we have a nice warm shop to do it in, and a guide house, and so that's been just a little bit of a change in the lodge location. We still hunt a lot of the same area, but that's probably the largest change.
So I do the bookkeeping, and I do a lot of the cooking for bear season mainly, and I take care of our little boy Seeger, grocery run, part runs, kind of all aspects of it. Yeah, I've been hunting only for about 7 years. I've got a bear so far, as well as an elk. I went for a few whitetail hunts, but didn't quite see the one that I wanted, so I'll keep trying on that. To be honest, I never grew up around it. I didn't have family that hunted. Just being in the area of Nipawin, having so many friends, having that as a hobby, kind of tagged along on a few of their adventures, and I just realized myself that I really liked it. So I thought I'd try it out, and I see why everybody likes it so much. The difference is just how much more you know them. You get to know them a little bit on their first hunt for sure, which kind of makes it really easy to have conversation that when they come back, you know about their wife or their grandkids or their kids or their pets or their hobbies at home, and you just know a lot more about them. So having repeat guests it almost feels like friends, like close friends for years, or family even, some of them. And we do keep in touch with most of them, even when they're not in camp. So typical day of bear season, get up pretty early in the morning. I usually do fresh baked muffins. We do like continental breakfast sort of thing. So yeah, muffins, toast, eggs, fruit, yogurts, kind of get that spread out for everybody. Come make a fresh pot of coffee. That's when I have my morning visits with everybody, which is great. through that time, I'll also kind of start getting lunch ready, which is a big meal. Kind of your meat and potatoes, home cooked meals. After that's done, I'll make sandwiches for everybody to go out to their stands with, so they have something to snack on at night. If one of our guests has a request or they need a little extra of something in town, I run to get that. Crock pot style meal for everybody when they return between 10 and 11:30 p.m. Most of them say the people, like just how friendly we are, how accommodating we are, and the biggest thing is how we make it feel like home. Like it's not just a job to us. We go that extra mile to try and make everybody happy, and they can tell that we enjoy doing it. It's not a job to us. Quite quickly. So usually the client will press the button on their spot on their GPS device, and then that generally goes through to all the guides' phones, of course, and mine as well, because I am back at camp. So then that way, if anybody is at camp with me that has been tagged out already, I get to let them know that kind of right away. And so yes, the news, it spreads pretty quickly.
Well, depending where our bait schedule is, you might bait in the morning if you need to. If the bait schedule is all caught up, then it's load up, go through machines, maintain things, be ready for the afternoon, have a big lunch at camp, and then the hunters will get into their guides pickups and head to a location where you unload the ATV, Argo, or whatever it happens to be. You need to get to your destination and get basically driven into the stand, set up, dropped off, given a communication device. So if you have any problem, or if you shoot something, you're able to get a hold of your guide instantly, and we can get in there ASAP to help you out. We do a lot. Well, I call it organically sourcing our beavers, which I do a lot of beaver trapping starting in April and it takes a lot. I know this season we're going to burn through 75 beavers by the time we're said and done, so it takes a little bit of time to trap that many, but we enjoy doing it, and it gets us out a little earlier than we need to be and into the woods as we're all itching when that spring fever hits. A good bait stand site. We have some bear highways that we've got the Torch River comes through our territory, and we've got some stands right on the edge of the river, and the river is always productive. On creek runs, the high ground, a lot of our area is never too far from water, so you want to be somewhat close to water. A bear can cover a lot of ground quick to get to it, but you want to make it easy and convenient. Absolutely, yes, yeah. Some are all peaches and lollipops, but there's those days where you're clearing trail, or it's raining, or muddy, or you gotta every year some of the trails you got to relearn where you're going to get stuck, where you're not going to get stuck, and all that fun stuff. Yes, it has. Yeah, no, we've had big blowdowns come through. We did last week here, and then took a good 4 hours of clearing in order to open up a trail to reach two particular bear stands that we had running and are pretty action packed. So we wanted to make sure we weren't going to lose access to those. For rifle, I mean, we still keep our sights relatively close, unless we have a special request from a fella. But for rifle, some of them we will opt out to 50 yards, and we're archery equipment, anywhere. We've got some traditional archery hunters that want to keep it under 15, so we do that for them. And for our compound guys, and crossbow guys, we like to keep it right at as close to 20 as we can. Absolutely, yes. In the fall, the bears here, we're on the farmland fringe, so they're going to and from the oat fields is where we find the biggest bears here in the fall, and then they'll be gorging. The farmers aren't too fond of them, but they'll be taking full advantage of the ample feed out there. So you put your baits close to those oat fields, and they're hit pretty much instantly if you're on them. And in the spring, those same bears then move farther back into the forest. They'll move a long ways back to hibernate, and they're in the spring. They're more they're more of a grazer on green feed. You know, grasses, when the grasses, fiddleheads, dandelions. That's probably their main food source in the spring, and we'll supplement it with a little bit of candy and beaver. But you look at the barrel. There's always a 45-gallon drum at the barrels. So if his front shoulders are up to the top of that drum, it's a good bear. If they're 6 inches over the drum, you better shoot real quick. And if it's somewhere in between that second and top of the barrel, in between the middle of the rung there, it's a nice bear, but not a monster. To not trip the trail cameras as much as the whitetails do. The whitetails' heads are always up and down. The bears are down. Their movements are a little smaller and lower. So you put hunters in, they always see more bears than we see on the trail camera. It seems like. But the good old school tactics, poop size to track size, are still the king when it comes to scouting for big black bears. Yes, yeah, and ones that haven't been shot too, where you have a hunter sitting in there. We had a gentleman a few years back sitting in his stand, and he had a smaller bear on the bait, and all of a sudden he sees this giant sleeking through the brush around him, and there happened to be a big stand, a brush pile he couldn't really see behind on that particular stand. And that bear the giant he saw sleeking behind there, disappeared behind it, and all of a sudden he looked up, and there was another bear on the bait, and he right away up, but he was a gun hunter, shot this bear. That one basically dropped in his tracks while he watched the big one peel out from behind that brush pile and take off. And what had happened, it was a giant boar following that sow, and he hadn't seen the sow. So there's those stories, and we had no idea that bear was there.